increasing stuff in
Welcome everybody to join us here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have the agenda in front of you, looking for an approval of the agenda.
So made.
Any discussion?
Read the response from the Transportation Council on the last reading session.
Under 11 mark.
Under 11.
Thanks, Wells. So I was asking to add an 11E so we can read the response from the Transportation Council on the Grand Street intersection of Liaison. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Carried. Okay, communications to the board. I received an invitation from Pam Hellman to the Veterans event last week. I did good. We received several FOIL requests from Christopher Doe. We received a number of other small things, but otherwise nothing different. Okay, at this time, the town of Lima follows New York State open meeting law procedures. All meetings of the town order can be noticed and open and accessible to the public. The public is there to witness the proceedings only. In the event of a public hearing, you can make sign and speak to the board of those assembled regarding the hearing topic for a maximum of 5 minutes once the board meeting. Speaking time belongs only to the speaker and may not hear his sign to someone else. Privileges of the floor may be granted to anyone who wishes to address the board on any topic at all. In order for the public to be properly noticed, the privileges of the floor must be applied for 105 calendar days prior to the board meeting date. Privileges of the floor are not to exceed 20 minutes, and legal authority to push privileges of the floor on the supervisor or the deputy supervisor if the supervisor is available. At the beginning of each meeting, the public may sign up to speak for 5 minutes on any posted agenda topic. Questions may be answered during the discussion or block number answered after research. At the very end of each meeting, the public may sign up to speak for 5 minutes on any topic at all. Questions can be answered or researched and answered later. So at this time, if there's any member of the public that would like to comment on any of the agenda items, except for the budget, we've got the hearing for that next. Please come forward and sign.
Will we be speaking during the budget public hearing? Like will that be?
The public hearing is for the public to speak about the budget.
Okay, just a minute.
Okay. Seeing none, Lori, you want to switch to the paper? All right, at this time, I will open the public hearing for the 2026 budget. Any member of the public wishing to comment, please come forward, sign at the podium.
Primarily addressing line items.
Good evening, Board. My name is Sean Fowler. resident on Main Street. Tonight, I provided the board with 3 documents. My FOIL request to county dispatch, the FOIL response I received, Lima Ambulance's official policy for notifying dispatch when no volunteers are available to take calls. The FOIL works like a simple question answer, so I'll read that out. Question. I'd like to know how many EMS calls in the Lima district were covered by Livingston County EMS without Lima EMS response for the calendar year 2025. Answer. 4 calls Lima did not have covered. 1 HFL covered, 3 Livingston County EMS covered. Question. Of those calls responded by Livingston County EMS and not Lima EMS, and how many calls was there a delay in dispatch to Livingston County due to uncertainty of Lima EMS status? Answer. There are no delays in dispatch. None. The FOIL response directly contradicts several false claims made under the supervisor's message on the town website on October 6th, repeated on social media, and quoted in the county newspaper. Those statements claim that Lima Ambulance had a policy of not communicating with county dispatch, that this caused county EMS to be at least 5 minutes late, and that our ambulance was putting itself before the needs of the community. None of that is true. These documents in front of you prove it. The official policy shows Lima Ambulance follows strict notification procedures, and the FOIL confirms that they have been followed to the letter. No gaps, no failures, no delays, a spotless record. These false statements have caused real harm. They confuse residents, aligning volunteers, and erode trust between patients and the people who respond to them in the case of an emergency. But tonight the board has something powerful. I'll give you a tool and an investment. First, the tool. You now have the means to correct the record. I'm asking this board to make a public statement that clearly and accurately reflects the real policy and this verified data. That statement should go out to the community, be posted on the town website, and shared with the county newspaper. And I ask that you also investigate the source of the false information. And come to understand how this could be published. I've carried this as far as I can. I hand it to you now. Please use it. Second, the investment. Before it doesn't just expose misinformation. When Lima can't take a call, there is no delay. Not even a second. That's extraordinary compliance for a fully volunteer service. It's 100% compliance. Second, there's a call capture rate of over 99%. Missed only 4 calls out of 447. That means Lima Ambulance responded to more than 99% of all district calls. As the former treasurer of the Pittsburgh Volunteer Ambulance, I can tell you that number is both a critical metric, and it's so good it's unheard of. It's uniform in the EMS world. And this hasn't been manipulated, the proof is in front of you. So as you consider the proposed $25,000 budget request to pilot part-time EMS personnel, I ask you to not see this as a cost, but as an investment in excellence. You have an agency that operates with elite performance metrics and a village working on a plan to transition from a fully volunteer to a mixed paid volunteer model. This plan will include clear benchmarks for improvement, fiscal clarity and accountability, and opportunities for stronger training procedures. While you wait for that plan to come out in December, please earmark the funds now. You won't regret it. For 18 years, I've seen Lima Ambulance quietly serve my neighbors in their hardest moments. It's always been that. And it's easy to take excellence like this for granted. This photo reminded me just how rare that level of commitment is. So tonight I ask you, correct the record, invest in the future, and honor the people who've earned this man's trust. Thank you for your time, and thank you for every volunteer that takes Lima to save our lives. Thank you.
I'm John Monica. I live on Ziegler Drive in the village, and I would like to concur with the previous speaker that I would like to see the $25,000 added to next year's budget. I attended the October 18th ambulance meeting that the chief put on, and one of the things that I was so impressed with is just how careful she collects and documents all the data, where calls are, what time of day, and when I was a trustee in the village, it was just incredible the detail of her monthly reports to the board. Everything was very transparent, right down to the minutes from their ambulance meetings. It is really a first-rate run operation. At the October 18th meeting, they mentioned that there were over 600 calls in 2024 that the ambulance responded to, and there were less than 20 that required mutual aid from outside Lima. So like Sean has just said, it's an incredible record of somewhere around 95 to 97% of calls that come into our ambulance are readily responded to. But the data doesn't completely describe the real value of our local ambulance. As you know, my daughter required an ambulance visit, and I know firsthand of the excellent care medically, but as important, the compassion and the love that this crew gives, not only to the patient, but to the family. And under these extremely stressful times, to have that extra level of service, I'm not sure that it exists in other agencies, and hopefully it does, but we're lucky to have it here. So according to Steve's, I think he mentioned last month that he did a quick analysis of the $25,000 impact on homeowners in the town. And estimated to be somewhere around, I think it was about $30 a home to put in the $25,000. The village presently has an assessment of about 20 cents per thousand. So on a $200,000 house, which is typical for maybe these older houses like mine, that's $40 a year. In relation, I spent $780 on my homeowner's insurance to protect my property. So $40 to protect the life of my family and my neighbors is well worth it. And I hope that you'll give this small step, and I'm confident that the ambulance will collect the necessary data and be honest about whether this is a successful pilot or not. So, thank you very much.
Okay, is there any other member of the public who would like to comment on next week's budget? Is there any member of the board who would like to comment on next year's budget?
Are you hold your note too?
I'll hold it. Yeah. So I will hold the hearing open and ask you to put it in the hearing.
So from our last budget training here, I was brought up about where attorney fees have gone up again. Against Mike, if this again wasn't to try to trim the budget or where we come up with money. Can you bring that down anywhere from the $67,000 Mike in the two areas?
I did not.
You did not.
I did not move it because we're still under the union negotiations and
Can't speak, John.
The other thing, Mark and I, of course, met with the, LI, and well, we met with both our trades, so is the LI figure?
No, it's not, because we needed to have a meeting so the board could approve the bid. And,
So it will be the following year's budget.
yes, it's about 20 cents. Yeah, yes. Okay. All right, we'll take this up again in a minute. Everybody got a chance to look through Charlie's report? Any questions that you had? We don't have to. Okay, the accountants have not gotten the other reporting together, so we do not have a supervisor's report this time. Did everybody have a chance to look at the October 7th town bills?
Yes, and I did see where I agree with Mark's, I think there were 3, if not 4 changes to be added to that, one of Phil not being here, we don't get right in front of me, Mark.
You saw it, right?
Yeah, I think
We made changes.
They have been all made. Okay.
So motion to approve the October minutes.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Carried. Did everybody have a chance to go through the vouchers?
Second.
Do you want to hold off on that, or do you want to? So, like, you're looking for a motion to move the agenda, place the vouchers at the end of the meeting. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Carried. Okay, water district number 5. We have a bunch of agreements to get through this evening. Jason Molino is here from the Water Authority to explain.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you all. There's a series of agreements in front of me that has to do with the operation and maintenance of Water District 5, and also, as you are aware, there's a unique relationship with the village and the authority, so there's a series of other agreements that has to do with the operation and maintenance of certain components of District 5. And then also an introducible agreement that talks about the general relationship between the town and village and the authority through this project and actually impact the project. So the first agreement, I'm happy to go through. I'll tell you, I worked on these along with the town supervisor, Petroski, and the village mayor, deputy mayor, as well as Ben Rothfield, utility director, village attorney, and Campbell as well. So we spent probably had, say, 4 or 5 meetings since roughly in the past, since roughly in the past in July to try to get these agreements in place. The first one I'll talk about is the operation and maintenance agreement between the Livingston County Water and Sewer Authority and the town of Lima. This is an O&M agreement between the two parties for the operation and maintenance of District 5 when it is installed in operation. This is very similar to the existing lease agreement you have with us for Districts 1 through 4. USDA calls it an O&M agreement, but the terms and conditions are the same. It basically makes us responsible for the operation and maintenance of the infrastructure. We still own the infrastructure, but we operate and maintain and serve the customer, providing water, customer service, et cetera, and O&M as well. So it's very similar to the existing lease agreement for Districts 1 through 4. It is a 40-year agreement. All these agreements are 40-year agreements, which are standard agreements. All of them also have opt-out clauses as they're required to by law. That is the O&M agreement between the authority and the town of Lima. I'll move on to the next one. The next several are kind of unique. I'll start with the introducible agreement between the village of Lima, the town of Lima, and Livingston County Water and Sewer Authority. In In 2022, I believe, 2024, we all updated the intermunicipal, or what we call the intermunicipal cooperation agreement that existed from 1986. That was a very vague agreement that had to do with the establishment of District 2, the transmission main down 15 up to the Monroe County line. The three parties got together and updated that agreement with more current terms representative of the current relationship, which essentially right now water is pumped from the Monroe County line south to the village tank, and then the tank is full and then pushes water north back up the line. In Districts 2 and 4, water Districts 2 and 4 are fed off of that exchange. The current relationship is that the town pays 10% of the operation and maintenance related to the operation of that transmission main and the shared water facilities. The shared water facilities are the pump station, the transmission main, and the water tower. So that relationship is a 90-10 split. And that 2024 IMA kind of outlined that, updated the language, and so we got an operating agreement moving forward. We cleared up some unknowns that were just ambiguous or that weren't identified in the 1986 agreement. This agreement updates the 2024 one. And the long and the short of it is it shifts when District 5 becomes operational. It shifts the relationship of 90-10 split to a 75-25 split for all joint or shared water facilities for both an operation and maintenance and a capital share that we would absorb as the operator of the town system. The new infrastructure added to Route 15 up to the Werner line, the tank, is also now the sections of main down 15 and 20 from the west end of the village to the east end of the village. Because when the new district is implemented and it's operational, water will be flowing through the entire village and into the far east side of the district, which is not a contiguous district. So it makes sense that there's a sharing of that responsibility at a higher level because we'll be using essentially more of the infrastructure that the village is paid for and operating in the game.
So the 75-25 split will show in 2027. Is that right?
Approximately, yes.
And what is that increase going to be to the town in dollars?
There's no increase to the town. It's the increase to us as an operator that if and when there is a O&M or a capital investment, we would basically be paying that share of responsibility and that share of infrastructure. So I'll give you an example here. The water tank needs to be inspected, most likely in 26 or 27. Let's say an annual inspection or an inspection is about $5,000. We would split that 75-25. We would pay the 25. They would pay the 75. Because we operate the water system, we absorb that cost.
So it's linked to the county.
Yes.
Absorbing the change, not the town line.
Correct. And we do that now with the 90-10 split. The other nuance is that we would also support any breaks or interruptions in service along the shared services or the shared infrastructure, which for the most part is 5 and 20. Obviously, we have an interest to ensure that infrastructure is maintained, operational, because otherwise we're going to have a problem getting water to the District 5 on the east end of the village, or east end of the town, or even the northern part of the town. Also, in this is a debt payment that we pay the village, not the town. We pay the village to help compensate for an additional use of capacity on the 5 and 20 main that was installed in 2019 by the village. So we assure them a $10,000 and $10,700 payment between the time it's operational, again estimated 2027 to 2051, because we're going to be using more of that main than they paid for in order to bring water to District 5. It's annual. Yes. Again, that's something we generate from our revenues and our fees and water services that we provide. It's a large agreement that has a lot of attachments. I do not include the attachments only because they're documents that you've seen. So, for example, fire, IMAs, the district, not an academic report, obviously on the final version I'll provide it, but it'll be a several hundred page document at the end of the day. If you want to see those attachments, you see them before I get them to you again. That is the basic majority of this agreement. I will say that all of these agreements, this one and the next two, work hand in hand, and if one is terminated, they're all terminated. So they essentially are going to work intertwined with each other and connected to each other. So this is the new intermunicipal agreement that will replace the 2024 one when District 5 is operational. I don't think there's anything else in this one. That was the primary piece to it.
District 5 is only operational until 2051.
No, 2051 is when the amortization schedule for the village expires on the debt that they have to the improvements that they did in 2000.
The 20 million investment.
I don't remember, but I think it was only a few $1 million investment. Those are the transmission main down 5 and 20, the water tank improvements, and a few other improvements. But it was the ones that were done in 2019. Yep. The next one I'll go over is the intermunicipal operation and maintenance agreement between the town of Lima and the village of Lima, in parentheses, Route 5 and 20, and the water supply, it's called Prime 20 water supply line. This is an O&M agreement in which the town, the village, is saying we are going to allow the town to operate and maintain Route 5 and 20 water supply line between Maloney Center and the town of Avon Road, border, I'm sorry. So it's going down Route 5 and 20 from the town of Avon Lima border to Maloney Center Road. The reason for this is that when water is brought into District 5 and then ultimately through the village, the rest of District 5 is going to be coming down Poplar Hill Road and utilizing the 5 and 20 transmission main. Currently, the 5 and 20 transmission main is an emergency supply line only. They have limited customers. I think there's any customers west of the Maloney Center Road due to low water pressure. Once this is energized, those customers and those residents along 5 and 20 will have the ability to tap into the line, will service those customers. Well, now, through your operation maintenance agreement with us, we will operate and maintain Route 5 and 20.
So at that time, is the pressures are going to be increased also?
Yes.
Because obviously right now the supply line, as we well learned with the structure fire this past year, and there's no pressure really to be used for firefighting at this time.
There will be so much pressure coming down that line, we will have 2 pressure-reducing valves that will knock the pressure down. We will have ample pressure. Pressure will not be a problem. Pressure and flow will not be a problem. So this is basically the village saying, the town, we're going to enter an agreement to allow you to operate and maintain that section of 5 and 20, and virtually through our operation maintenance agreement to be maintained. But that's what this section, what this O&M agreement is. The last agreement is the intermunicipal operation and maintenance agreement between the village and the town of Lima for what we'll call the west and east end improvements. Currently, there is a section of pipe on the west end of the village that extends out beyond the western border of the village. It's a small 8-inch pipe that has out-of-district customers that are village water customers but town residents. On the eastern end of the village, past the eastern border, extend out on 5 and 20. There is a group of customers that are town residents but are village water customers. We'll call those out-of-district customers. Part of this project replaces the 8-inch main with new 12-inch main. Because it is village, there will be town-owned due to the project, you were then saying that you were going to allow them to operate and maintain that section of pipe, and they're going to retain their out-of-district customers.
So the new 12-inch, is what I understand, that the new 12-inch will be here from basically the concrete plants all the way out to Werner Road.
That will be
on the east side.
Yes. Yep. It basically be probably from York Street, or York Street over about. Yeah, probably a little bit further because there's one customer there that has a long service. It's probably not where they go. So that section, while owned by the town and part of District 5, you will turn over to the village to operate and maintain. And they will continue to service those town residents as out-of-district village customers, so they do not lose them as customers. It's a little bit of swap of infrastructure, but the only really appropriate to do it because both parties will have debt is really through an operation maintenance agreement versus a title changeover. There will be a swap of a few customers. I want to say a net of 1 or 2 that will go in different directions. That's just because of where they will connect to the new main versus where they're currently connected and eliminating services towards the end of the church. Up here on 15 is tapped in from their project south of the meter pit. We go through a little bit of a deduct process. It's not necessary. When this turns over, that'll just become a village customer. And there's 2 customers, I believe, over by the Lima Center that are current village customers that could be town customers. Just from the way the pipe, way they're currently connected will change. Just due to the convenience.
Does anybody either west or east, if they're not presently hooked to the line, will not be able to hook to the new transmission line?
On 5 and 20?
Right?
No. Anybody that's along 5 and 20 that currently is not connected will have the ability to connect if they want to.
I thought they couldn't.
They can't now because the pressure is not the one new line. New line comes in there.
So, will any of that, if you're like out on the east side here in Orange, if there's, I'm just trying to visualize, five units maybe, somewhere around there, will that affect the cost here for everybody then? Is that going to be lower?
Good, yes. Generally, as we get along in the process, we will work on a policy with the town when there are what we'll call out of district town customers that maybe aren't in the water district, but they have or within reach or able to connect. We'll work out an agreement where they will pay the debt, we'll charge that to them, and then remit it back to you.
So right now, we're currently, if I remember, we're at 668, is that correct?
Sounds about right, I'm sorry.
Somewhere around there. But, and I know, Ron, what you're asking, because I remember Mr. Rodriguez standing up there, and he was told he would not be able to hook up. That's why
I don't know the address, so I have to look at the location. I can tell you once I know where it is in relation to everything. It's possible he can just do the distance. I don't know the answer to that question right now.
You know, if it's running on the north or south side,
I do not know that right now.
Maybe.
Oh, the current pipe. The current pipe?
well, no,
The new one, I don't know the rest of it. It's in the Werner Center.
that's a fair question.
That's a design question, yeah. I do have the draft plans, we got them on Monday, so we haven't cracked that open yet to look at it. No, it doesn't, I mean, no, right, yeah, I just don't know where it is. It won't prohibit anybody from getting it.
and in the two plans, they figured out what a pump station is going on.
I'm not looking to plan it. So,
Right, that would be on the,
we will nail that down.
What Steve was saying about the east side is also the west side, we were talking about Poplar Hill.
Yep.
Low pressure now, once it gets high pressure, people want to connect down there, then they'll do,
And we'll be able to do that. Yes, they will. Yep. Yep.
my understanding is, I did connect it to mile and a quarter for the door of the road.
Okay.
And that's a transmission line.
Yep.
And nobody on that line is going to get charged with 668 per
Correct. My understanding of it.
unless they hook up.
Unless they hook up.
Okay.
Yep.
How can I change my pipeline to a transmission line?
You're talking to the wrong guy. I don't know. Sorry.
I'll find out.
Okay. So those are the 4 agreements. The town, the village will also be discussing the 3 agreements that involve the town. That would be the IMA, the O&M, the 2 O&M agreements, and then there's a village supply agreement with us that they'll be discussing next Tuesday, the 3rd meeting.
Thanks for all the work you've done, this has been a for the last year, so I appreciate what you've done.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a good project.
Thanks, Fred.
They got it, so we're moving along right now. I was thinking do that.
Okay.
Can I ask just a question about just a couple things from the existing pump house at the Monroe County line?
Sure.
What's the plan for that, and would that still be like a backup in case we need it?
It's a good question. So in the water supply agreement we'll have with the village is there is an ability for them to operate the pump station, say once a week or once every other week or whatever the frequency they want to operate it. So it'll continue to still be able to be used, and it's a redundant supply. So if for whatever reason the water supply from us, which would be coming up Poplar Hill, is compromised, that pump station would be able to fill the tank and probably provide water as far west as Livonia Center and then all of the Durham Road addition and some of the northern Peak Markham areas.
And just the other question was on the west side, the village operated a valve between Avon and the village of Lima. What's going to happen in that?
So in that area, because of the pressure differential, the PRV will have to be reviewed, looked at, either replaced or upgraded. And then there'll likely be a meter put in because in that sense, for the most part, it's really going to be a one-way supply, meaning there would only be an emergency supply westward from us, just because of the pressure gauge issues. Yes. Yeah. But the vault is good. I think it was pretty big one that's there, so we'll evaluate whether or not we reuse that or whether you change the size of it. There'll also be a meter put in. And then part of the intermunicipal agreement here is that when it's operational, the parties agree that they will get together with the town of Avon and reevaluate the emergency supply agreement that we have with that.
So you're saying the pump house will have the ability to still retain Avon County water in an emergency?
Yep, it's a redundant source.
So I guess my question is, might be Jason, and you know this or somebody, okay, obviously we're switching everything to Livingston County basically. Do we pay an emergency usage charge or anything in Monroe County? Will there be anything like that? Does anybody know that?
There's no capping fee and there's no minimum usage charge in Monroe County, so your existing supply agreement, which is in partnership with the village, will stay intact for another 20 years. There's no minimum usage charge, so you won't pay anything for not using it, or using very little. Good question.
And they intend to operate it once a week just to keep it maintained. That levels.
All right, very good.
Yeah, and also make sure that it is available to those.
Just to clarify on the website.
Sure.
So right now the village is using it as a backup, but you're saying since we'll have the Monroe County as a backup, that won't be a backup really anymore. It'll be just kind of a backup for Avon.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Are there other questions for Jason regarding those four agreements? Then we'll make a motion to adopt the operations and maintenance agreement.
Make a motion.
The operations and maintenance agreement with the Livingston County Water.
This is between the town and the authority to operate the certified and stuff like
So
that.
it's between the town and the Yep. I'll second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor? Those opposed? Carried.
These are motions to allow you to execute these agreements. And the village still has to next week.
Next is the IMA, the Village of Lima, Town of Lima, and the Livingston County Water and Sewer Authority.
This is the one that essentially talks about shifting the water supply from the city of Rochester to the municipality of Rochester.
That's the intermunicipal agreement.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Those opposed? Carried. Next is the intermunicipal agreement for operation and maintenance between the Town of Lima and the Village of Lima for the Route 5 and 20 water supply line.
I'll make that motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Those opposed? Carried. Last is the intermunicipal agreement for operation and maintenance between the Town of Lima, the Village of Lima for the West End and East End improvements. Any discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? Carried. So next is design status. And we have our representative here from our engineering firm, CPL.
Everything
we mentioned previously, the preliminary submission documents were sent out to us on Monday, next goal on the schedule. As Greg and I mentioned last month when we were here, we were sending out RFPs for the 3 specialty areas for the archaeological consultant, geotechnical, and wetlands. We have
Excuse me, could you please talk into the microphone, because I can't even hear your presentation. Sure. Thank you, I appreciate
There's a summary page on top that has the 3 different areas. The budget is in the top line with the category. Archaeological had a budget of $25,000. Geotechnical had a budget of $100,000. And wetlands and invasive species combined with $15,000 budget. For the archaeological, at this point, we only need to do phase 1A, but we also asked for phase 1B just so we have some frame of reference when and if SHPO asked us to perform that for the project. So the Agers archaeology, they had a little quote for phase 1A and for the phase 1B overall. Geotechnical, the geopros, that's the initial soil testing, see the content of the soil and be sent to any potential bedrock. Soil boring are to go back through find bedrock and go down to see how far, how deep it is and what the content of the rock may be. The low quote for that was NW Contracting. For the wetland and invasive species, we are recommending that the whole size of the road be inventory for the purposes of DOT, American DOT. They ask that whole size be inventory for the invasive species, and if there's any changes during construction that comes up, we have the foot size of the road that's already covered. Our quote for that was CC Environmental.
Could you say that what the budgets for each of these different categories?
The archaeological was 25.
Oh, right at the top, right?
Yes, right at the top. The low quotes for each were all under the budget.
Do you want to read those off for the public so they know what the budget was and what the low quote was?
Sure. So the archaeological, the budget was $25,000. Agers archaeology, their combined phase 1A and 1B cost would be $16,880. Geotechnical budget was $100,000. NW Contracting had a combined geoprobe and soil bore price of $94,616. The wetlands and invasive species studies, combined budget of $15,000. Doing both sides of the road for CC Environmental would be a budget of $12,705.
So you need something from us? Are we going to authorize you to hire these people?
Well, these would be direct contracts with the county. That's outside of our engineering scope agreement.
Well, I realize that, but are you going to manage these contracts, or are we have to find something to manage?
No, we will manage them. We will coordinate with them. We will give them our financial plans to take the locations, all we need from the board, to if we choose to tonight, authorize the contracts and hiring the 3 firms.
I'm very familiar with these guys. I've done a lot of work with them. The work is excellent.
and a very competitive price, as you can see.
Yes.
So I'd like to see us move forward with Azer. I don't know Northwest Contracting. Have you worked with them before?
Yes.
Like once, 10 times, 100 times?
At least 10 or something.
Okay. And do they have a lot of extras? Is it pretty good for their budget?
They're very good with budget.
Schedule?
They are generally on time. Weather plays a factor with all three of these, and they've all said that timing will be a bit of a pinch. They may not be able to get this done before the snow falls at this point, but it was
It's not going to snow, it's not going to snow.
So I think that there is nothing that stands here out of the ordinary. There is nothing unique to Lima on our water project, the water district side. Nothing, there's no special extra cost that we're going to have to incur.
So these three RFPs,
All right there.
it should be all right here, all covered. At this point, the phase 1A is what's required by SHPO. The phase 1B is not. That's just a contingency. That SHPO comes back after their initial review and feels that more investigation and actual field work is required. There's a few historic ag properties within the district, and sometimes there is certain cemeteries of different vintages. There's a pioneer ag cemetery which they're from Corby area, the cemetery. I'm not sure the ages of those that are deceased in that cemetery, but that might play a factor, and should go asking for field work.
I know last year, I know I made a bunch of phone calls, and I believe we finally got confirmed for maybe Eric was obviously in contact with our fire chief. Did that happen? Did the two of them get together and talk about flow and pressure at the hydrants? Because I know that was our chief's big concern in the design process, and where they be located. Did that even take place?
I'm not sure if Eric met with the fire chief, but fire hydrants are generally spaced between 5 and 700 feet apart. In agricultural fields, we tend to skip them only because there's no structures.
But I know the design and the water flow, I don't know if Jason maybe would have anything on that. I know there was concern there about pressure at the hydrants. So,
I don't think you're going to have a problem with pressure. You're going to have pressure. You're going to have at least probably one or two pressure reducing valves. I mean, you're coming in pretty hot from the south, so I don't think there's going to be any issues with pressure. From my perspective, they lead on Dorn Road with the pump station that will maintain pressure heading south, so I don't.
even at the north end of the project, there should be no issue.
No, because remember that's going to be fed off the tank, and the tank is currently feeds that now, so I don't think it's a big problem.
Steve, can we make it a point with CPO? We want you to be with the fire chief. We want you to be with the fire chief. Both points. So you're committed to doing that, right?
Yes, we will.
Absolutely.
He's putting water out in front of your house as you are the telephone part.
I still don't. I was Northwest contracting for soil boring.
Yes.
Is that primarily at like road crossings and creek crossings that you have to get across that you're going to need to do the soil boring? It's like if you don't find any rock within 5 feet, generally, you're 60. I don't know how far you're going to go down.
So then you're not going to 5 foot cover is minimum.
You got to make a low crossfire.
But if you soil close to say 6 feet, right, you don't find any rock. You still need soil borings at the creek crossings and the road crossings where they have to do a hole, right?
So the geoprodes will be spaced roughly 500 feet apart.
Yeah.
We'll have some specifically at road crossings, creek crossings, anytime where we need to do a directional drill. And if we find rock, then we'll come back and do a soil drill to go into the rock and see what content, how deep it is, to determine whether a conventional drill will take place or a rock drill.
So are we authorizing the geopodes and then you're going to come back to us and say, oh, now we have to do some rock core forage, and we authorize that, or we authorize everything up front?
It would be easier to authorize everything, but I'll leave that to your discretion. It's an extra step on your part. If I need to come back and ask, the price is already there, and there'll be two stages. There will be, the geoprobe will be done first. We'll get the inventory, see the results, and then if there's any areas that stand out right now, the northwest corner on Dalton will probably have some rock. So we'll have soil bores there. But if there's any others in the district that we feel we need to come back, we'll just add that on the list. That should be within a week after. If it's going to be over and above that, we would come back and let you know.
Well, I'm just thinking, I want to be good steward of money, and I would like to be involved in the decisions that, if we're going to go start doing the Rockville, that we're involved in that step. I don't want to play a project. So you guys understand that you could get the decision for until the first Tuesday.
You say that if it's not required, it's not going to be extended.
Correct.
So this is not to exceed amount.
But if it is required,
you're approving it. If it requires more, then they have to come back to it, and then they have to expand the scope of the law. So if there's only so much soil that is required, and it's not needed all of it, they're not going to be spent. If they need more, they're going to come back and explain to you that they need more of these reasons in the area.
So everything that you're going to do is improve the net cost unless there's something that they want to do.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
All of the debt don't be able to put up.
It's pretty rare that they have to come back. I have had one project where they found more rock than anticipated based off of the USGS maps and different geology that we've looked at ahead of time. But it was an extra 10,000, but it was a lot of rock that doesn't count. We're planning that the northwest corner is going to be a lot of rock already.
We got a quarry out there, so we have to do the chance.
Right.
So if anything has to go,
Anything extra we come back on.
where
This
is the best one we can do this
These proposals are based on the best information they have at the time. More information will be identified once they start the process. If they don't need the additional funding, they won't use it. If they do come back, they'll come back, articulate why they'll come back, and things like that. This is all within the estimated project cost. You also have contingency, but this is, from a project to this side, this is not a significant impact. And with the fact that the estimates are within the expected budget is this time as well. This is a normal process we would generally go through. You only know so much until you start over around and then you find out and you gotta go back to time and
and they're gonna start this as soon as we approve pretty much the SAP.
Some of it will start immediately. The field work portion may wait until early 26 into the spring, just because the weather in invasive species especially, you have to have green grass and growing and no snow. The shovel test for the archaeological, if they have to do phase 1B, requires thaw ground.
But all of these questions here obviously are the logistics part of doing the project. This is above and beyond the contractor that you're going to be sending out for.
This is nothing to do with the
Right, nothing to do with the
budget.
Right.
So, you do something.
No.
So, CC environmental, you do with them
Yes,
again, more than once. So,
probably 100 times.
have you had any problems with the reports, CC?
No.
I'd like to make a motion that's what we're looking for, to authorize CPL to hire paychecks for the maximum budget of $60,080, Northwest contracting for the national budget of $94,650,
and CT environmental to two-sided budget, maximum of $12,400.
These contracts will be authorized for the director by the county, and they want to authorize the supervisor.
And then the supervisor can execute the agreement.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
When will we see plans? When will we see plans?
I have plans in my office right now, so we're going to look them over. Some feedback, I think we have a 2-week, 3-week time frame to get comments back to you. And then you can share them with your platform if you want. Is it good?
In 2 or 3 weeks, you said?
Yeah, I think it's our time frame was sometime before Thanksgiving, we had to get back to the comments. So, we'll look them over, and get into it.
Thanks, guys.
Great. The other 2 things on the list here, these are the interfund loans that we have formalized that are between the A fund and the water district and the B fund and the water district, so that we can then start to reimburse the A and B fund. Just tagging up the So we're looking for resolution number 14, which is the interfund loan for water district 5 funds made from the general fund A.
Make a motion to accept.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Looking for a motion for resolution number 15, which is the fund loan for water district 5 funds advanced from general fund B.
Make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carried.
We have our van out for bid right now, so by anticipation, we should be getting some feedback on that. I hope that it's in close towards the end of the month, which will allow us to actually reimburse general fund $8,000.
Okay, moving on. Highway Department.
So, A and B, you guys are across 15A for cemetery. And then, equipment planning, should be getting back on the research on at any point in time.
For time that we ready,
For when anything will be due for the tax.
because we have appropriated to go ahead and buy it.
Yes.
Right. So they have no idea if it's going to be this year yet or next year.
It should be by then. Before the tax will be built, and then, the body and plow and everything like that will be built later on.
The company, who's the company was technical?
No, it's stop and
They do all work.
yeah, I think it's something cheaper.
Not like $1
Very good. So we'll be back on that. Paul said,
Before you get off on the equipment, I think from reviewing the budget, we've got to be very careful next year with how we spend the CHIPS money. Because probably some of the CHIPS money needs to be needed to pay for the second part of that. So, yeah, you can't spend all that money on road stuff.
no, I understand.
Yeah, we'll be in we'll get I'll hurt if we overspend.
Yeah.
You get into the county that takes
Yes, I mean, you should be getting back like almost 25 grand in the state, where you're done this year. And we still have to put up, a couple spots in 5 and 20 that I would like to do small spots, small spots. County is not paid, it's like lumped in with the amount that the county pays us, to take care of the road stuff. Yeah. Salt shed, grant has been applied for, we should hear back on, if our application was approved or not, like mid-December. Last year was December 12th when the list got released. And then, temporary structure, I did have made up some things for you guys on number-wise for my thoughts on the temporary structure that needs to keep working on.
Is that any different from the email that you sent out?
Well, this is kind of more so just a little bit of a breakdown on cost of building, cost of lots, and so on. Would you like it? No. Okay. So I have it broken down, the cost of the building is $4,700. It is 30 feet wide by 65 feet long by 15 feet tall. That's just the building itself. I plan on having it built up on 3 rows of 2 foot tall concrete blocks. It would replace the amount of salt storage that we had to tear down earlier this year, and then some. Say the grant does get approved, and we move forward with, in the future, move forward with building a salt shed. One, it would give us a place to store extra salt from the salt shed that we would have, the rest of the salt shed that we would have to tear down. And once the new salt shed is built, whatever that may be, that building and those blocks would both be repurposed for the highway. Blocks would be where we stockpile all of our material, like I was saying earlier. If it's all separated stone, nothing can stand, you're not losing material, you're hauling it and stockpiling. We would lose this small, when the new building would be built, we would lose the small amount of overhead gathering container of all cold storage, is why we're in the elements as well. But it would give us a place to, park our tractors and equipment and things like that if we are not using it throughout the winter, which would entail give our equipment and things around our lifespan for the time.
So if you put up a temporary shelter now for the salt,
Yep.
would you leave it in the same place in the future, or would you have to move it?
I mean, that whole area where the salt barn is currently, everything would have to get moved. They're trying to shuffling with everything up to highway yard.
Are we going to keep phase 1 and 2 when you put up hopefully the new structure, not the temporary, but the new structure?
No, those would get torn down. That's where it is planned to be built. So like any salt that we have left over, we have to go somewhere. Stored in temporary until the new one is built. And then
We talked earlier today, you and I, that there is a deed on this. There is a possibility of a 30/40, correct?
There is kind of, it's about the same price in the building. The guy that has this one has one in stock. And I talked to him after we dropped the phone. Me and him had talked last week. He had everyone that was a little bit more sturdy of a structure. Not saying this one is not sturdy, but he just doesn't have any. And I searched all day for places that have them. And, you know, if you do find them, they're about $2,000 more than this storage facility.
And we've been talking as far as putting the guy off, taking him away from snow fence, or maybe you could be salting anything, you could. Yeah. So for $275, this building is coming from all around the Hudson River. So it just doesn't make sense to peel our guys off, send the truck out there. You can't do it for that. No way. And we did look at the trucking. I got another quote at $4.25 a mile, actually from two different people I use. These guys are all, they know what it costs them to haul. And Sean got the $2,500 quote right here from Duncan, and that is right within $50 of what everybody else was. And if we go ahead with this, we're utilizing a hometown business.
I only have a question, surprisingly, because our conversation earlier was important. That if we do get the new building through the grant, then we're going to repurpose the temporary shelter to basically protect our equipment. That's a great idea. So it's not money from.
No, it's not.
Where do we get this money from? Is it coming out of current budgets?
So I have, I have a line item in the highway department.
You're basically using the existing budget from 2025 to pay for this.
Yes, it's not over. It is in one of my line items. And it's right there at the point. Now you know you're going to the account line to about zero. And if it comes to the point where it's about zero, what is going to come down to is trucking. And we have to, and we can take the guy, run a few roads instead of, sending Duncan or whoever else we run with to,
they're looking at how many blocks altogether was to get here. Is there going to be 8-footers?
Hopefully the 8-footers. There are 6-footers in here. And I did that in order to stagger the blocks, because you don't want them all lined up. Just like when you do a 4, you're going to have a normal for that. I think this one.
Both truckers I talked to mark 16 blocks per load. Is what they can legally do.
And all the 4-foot blocks that are on this list, we have them in stock here currently. So those would just be coming out of what we already have.
And they can get your offset for
So just a comment. Our purchasing policy gets us to get multiple bids for over $1,000. But I think through the process of that, we can get quotes, comparisons to quantities to suppliers. So it seems that you met that standard. So,
and I had called Peachworth. Peachworth is predominantly heavies over the years. They don't have any right now. Obviously, these all get shipped in from the pond, and I know guys that have utilized these. It's just a long-term thing. No, it's 7-8 years on the fabric for the building. That's correct.
But you can replace the fabric later on down the road as a storage. Yeah. I talked to Keith about it. There's a town that used them, and they replaced whatever, and they've had like 15 years.
So I do have a motion to authorize the highway superintendent to purchase the building and blocks for a temporary salt and storage building.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
Just to clarify, the budget is like $30,130.
So the biggest thing, and I know you've been talking to them, what kind of time frame? Because obviously we're getting shorter.
Yeah, so the building can be here within. Another part that I had the approval by you guys with was they preferred to not have, they were planning to get a check on delivery or in the mail. So we can get a free check.
Right, Sue, the motion to the second. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay. Sue, what I need in order to get the check out of the analysis.
Okay, I haven't had more than
Great.
For the building.
For the building. And then the blocks, how they...
Well, actually, they were found, separated up into different bills, but I would imagine they're finally going through the budget system, their concrete plant out south of Akron.
And if anybody's wondering, Sean and I did go for local supplier, and the price of these blocks are what, $50 to $60 less or more? Way more.
Yeah, it's $285.
$285 is the best price we unfortunately got in Lakeland. So we did look at local first, to let you know.
So John, I think they're kind of quantified reactors with the favor, especially over.
Yes.
You know, you're doing what Lakeland and the concrete blocks.
Yep. And all the concrete blocks on the end, we will build steel brackets and like on the angles where they're meeting up, like the corners of the blocks are meeting up. Same type of thing.
Will you lag them into the cement then?
Yep. So the structure is strong. I do have an additional thing I would like to talk about with the highway office. Losing a second guy this week. We're down to me, Ben, Stephanie, and Josh. I know
Josh is a pretty good one.
yes. But she's practicing the everything with that. So it's good with the driving. I've been in contact with a kid that I've known since this day. He works for Suco, he's laying out in the wintertime. And he wouldn't, if he was planning on coming in as a part-time guy working less than 30 hours to help us out, as was approved by you guys. And I was talking to him today, and if you guys are willing and able, I know the kid, he drives trucks for Suco during the summer, he hauls all their equipment. He's worked for California previously in years past, so he has plumbing experience.
And obviously has a CDL.
Obviously has a CDL. I would like to hire him as a temporary full-time employee.
What are the label fixes underneath the hire?
Well, he would be full-time.
See, no benefits.
No benefits. But
He can work it full-time.
yeah, I mean, he could be full-time. We lost the other guy today. And we need to replace him.
So, but let me understand what you're saying. So what you're saying is he would work more hours if needed.
Yes.
All right.
He told me today that if the board approves it, he would be hired on You want to be hired on full time, be your employee until April, until he goes back to them.
Okay. So this isn't just somebody to help out with snow plowing, this is somebody that's going to hire full-time to be hired.
Until April. And then it's going to go back to.
Go back to his regular job.
Well, the question is, how do you become, where does it start there?
Right.
Well, with having, having prior plowing experience, I was going to start at 25,000.
With no benefit.
No benefit. Because he's getting all the benefits and everything, still, last year he worked full-time on the bus and had nothing even did, in fact, healthcare.
So Mr. Tampa, what do we have for legal ramifications to hire part-time? Anything?
Well, we're in the middle of a collective bargaining negotiation, so we want to get some consent from the union rep.
Well, would it be a part-time position where we need to be coming in every day and working with us side by side as a full-time employee?
Right, but it's going to look like this full-time. We know that he's leaving in April, so I think we just want to let the union know. Okay. And I think for purposes of action, tonight the board could approve it subject to confirmation that it's not properly.
Okay.
What's his name?
Ethan
Dunn. The latest of season. All right, Sue. Then we would entertain a motion to go ahead and make a part-time hire. Then we would subject to the K from the Teamsters.
I'll make that motion.
And that's through April. Anything
until April. He goes back, yeah, he goes back to
April 1st?
April 15th. April 15th.
But we're basically on the to the end of April.
Sure.
And if he has to leave earlier than that, he does. But I mean, that gets it through the heart of the winter salting and plowing. So that second week,
Even in the bed.
Still only got 4.
Okay, so, other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
So on top of that, are we going to put back up another MBO? Are we going to authorize to advertise?
Where are the other one? Is quit?
No.
Then we can't do this.
Okay. Until it's finalized.
All right. The only other thing in this section that I've got shown is the salt purchase agreement with the village. We asked for some changes from last time. The attorney has provided them.
The changes were related to the existing leftover salt, which is property in the village.
No, this was us providing a certain amount of financial assistance for salt. I'm looking for a motion to adopt the agreement. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Carried. And then last we have your GTC.
At the last meeting, I read a letter that we sent to the Transportation Council about the Brad Orange Street intersection at 520. And they responded and said, "Good afternoon, my name is June McCoolhan, a senior planner with GTC. I was brought in specifically to work on the LRT 2050 update. I received your letter regarding the intersection of Interstate 520. The recommendations for specific locations are not typically included in the LRTP, which is a long-range traffic plan. We are including the recommendation to prioritize studying safety in rural intersections and implementing testing along the concern of that section of highway to Interstate DOT 3-4. The recommended study is expected to be completed in near term, 1 to 5 years, based on current priority.
GTC has also brought additional staff to allow more projects to be taken on in due time. GTC will be presenting the draft recommendations for feedback at the planning committee meeting on November 15th with additional information as to what the future goals of the organization will be. So basically, we got their attention, which is what we tried to, that's what we were trying to do. So I'm going to ping Region 4 now with this, since they sent our letter out to them, and see if they all go. Next is the petition for the general business overlay district on Plank Road updates.
You may have seen I sent the proposed local law to the Liaison County Planning Board for the referral of the general municipal law, asking them to take a look at it. They'll be looking at it and considering action on the November 13th meeting. If it's your pleasure, tonight we can take the next step, which is to schedule a public hearing for the December meeting.
I will move that we start a public hearing for this general business overlay district on Plank Road for December 2nd. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Carried. We do not have any budget transfers to execute this evening. IT services. The only thing I have is that I have been experiencing a tremendous amount of problems with my email. And Canada's been working on it. And it's something to do with Delta Marine. They've tried a couple different things. I think they maybe have figured it out. It's not finalized yet. But if any of you are getting email kickbacks, like you send an email, it gets kicked back to you. Sometimes it takes 24 hours. Just to send that email to the support desk at Skyport so they can look into it. So just have that. I haven't had that yet. I've had that about 15 times. There you go. Otherwise, we talked about possibly doing some of the 2026 stuff early in 2025 and the budget for improved system over that. Okay, the Siemens project update. The building still does not have any heat. So the plumbers are almost finished. The plumbing for the heat, the electricians are a little behind. So 10 days. We did that. We are saving money on fuel. Great. Town solar law update. Before you get started, Mark, I just am going to say that I had someone come in from Michigan Ave with a letter 2 days ago. Yesterday he came in. It showed me a letter that he was being solicited for his property to become a battery energy storage facility. This is property that is at the north end of Michigan Ave, near 520. That sort of is very close to the village's solar array. That's the only reason they would do it. There is another letter that came into the village for the exact same thing. We don't currently, outside the village, we don't have any law or anything about battery energy storage.
I also got one of those on the far end of
it was generator storage. So we have to put solar out here. The
The other thing I have to update on the solar law is, I need to get a meeting scheduled. I've been kind of holding off, I mean, it's my judgment call. I know that the meetings are busy with, harvesting and everything at the end of the year, so I didn't want to put pressure on, but I think things are settling down finally. But if we can schedule something, probably won't until after Thanksgiving at this point. But if we can get something between after Thanksgiving and first week of December, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Now, the 2026 audit. Steve and Werner interviewed the top 2 candidates, and you have a recommendation this time.
Well, I guess, we had lengthy discussions with both vendors. And after talking to both, we are recommending to the board and the town to go with Allied. One of the reasons, again, we both make calls on behalf of both companies to other towns. Everybody was happy with both. They had no problems with any of the utility or any of the towns that are utilizing them right now. And then after Mark and I discussed also, not only obviously looking out for the people's money, we felt that Allied was more sized and could understand our business model here in Lima. And that is our recommendation, correct, Mark, to utilize Allied at this time.
Okay. All right, then I'd be looking for a motion to authorize me to sign the contract with Allied for the audit.
I'll make a motion.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Garden Street Water Survey, South Lima. I did speak with David Fever, who's the add-on supervisor. There is interest on both sides of the road, but we only have 5 houses.
I'm sorry, we only have
5 houses.
5.
That's it. Most of the houses on Garden Street are now, especially when the road goes up at dog legs, the entire street now. So
Is the other one Livonia also there?
So Livonia is on the south side of the road. But on Garden Street, it's one side's Lima, one side's Allied.
Which are already in the Livonia water project.
So, not on Garden Street.
No, I'm saying the South Lima Road.
South Lima, yes. So, Garden Street, we'll see. It's probable that then anything that's done up there, Avon would be the lead agency on it, just because there's no population, and then as the water line is going past, the properties on our side of the street, the same as with the southern thing, will be able to connect. But I'll be seeing him again tomorrow, so we'll discuss it further.
So there's no action item for our engineer or anything else?
Not at this time. Right. We already executed the salt purchase agreement thing. There is an intermunicipal agreement for summer recreation for 2026.
So, I was attending a meeting with Kim Rover of the Lima Falls High School district. She's in charge of the summer recreation program that's put on every year. Just some highlights, which I think is worth it for people to know. There were 177 campers over a period of 6 weeks. 171 of them were locals and 7 were non-residents. They also had 107 weekly registrations for a total of 284 campers. The town of Lima had 15 campers, which required the Lima subsidy, and 2 campers which got the Lima financial aid. They give us a budget for next year, which is about $245,000 to put on the program. So for 2026, we're proposing no changes from 2025 in terms of the fees. So parent portion will still be $679. The municipality portion will still be $240. The weekly rate will be $175, and then the weekly rate after May 1st will be $185. So their timeline is basically opening registration in January, hiring staff in February, getting their permits in April, processing registration in June, camp start in June, finishing up everything in August and September, and then again in October, and municipal agreement in December. So basically, the agreement that they proposed was the same as last year's, same amounts, with no changes. We adopted last year, so I'm assuming we will just go ahead and adopt it.
The only thing that bothers me, obviously, a great program, like you want to protect it, continue. But you said it was only 17 from Lima? Is that what it is?
Yeah, out of the 284 campaigns.
So this is the town's portion, not the village. So it's just the outside.
So all my guests are, you get involved with it. How does this get promoted in Lima? Can we get any more? Is the school do this night before?
The school does it.
Okay.
Yeah, they hold the parent sign-ups. They hold all that other stuff. They start in either January or February. Getting people lined up.
Are you in charge of that part?
No, I'm not very aware of that. No, I'm not.
So I'll make a motion to adopt the municipal cooperative agreement regarding the community summer recreation for 2026, authorizing one fall to execute the agreement.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next is resolution number 16, which is the 2026 agreement with the county highway department to extend the intermunicipal agreement for equipment, machinery, tools, and services.
I assume it's the same agreement. It's just an extension of the previous agreement.
Correct.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to have the supervisor execute the equipment, machinery, etc. agreement.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Carried. Jordan, can you change the sign sheet? Okay, so at this time, if there's any member of the public that would like to comment on anything at all, please come to the podium and sign in.
For the last 5 years, I've worked over at District Concrete on East Main, and during that entire time, I've experienced a lot of litter getting blown over from Superior Walls. They apparently have a lot of styrofoam refuse. So, for instance, yesterday I was out for 2 hours filled with fire shank dumpster. And the thing is that not only makes our property look bad, but their property out in front, it's not a good welcome to Lima. We're right across the street, just in front of Kisser's property, right away, is a beautiful welcome to Lima sign. And if you venture and look to the left of Superior Walls, there's just garbage everywhere. In the parking lot, in the front yard, it blows in the Kisser's property. I'm not speaking on behalf of Kisser, I'm just speaking as a concerned resident. And I believe CD Motor or whatever we call it now experiences a lot of litter that comes. So I'm just asking the town if they work with Superior Walls to try to contain their styrofoam. It's just a very mobile material that blows around. We get this garage with a big south bin. They did install like a snow fence in front for a little while, but that's kind of like half torn down. But in any event, you go by, you welcome the lineman, it gives a really bad impression of the town. So at least if they could clean up the front and try to contain the litter, I think that would be just a good thing to do.
Mike, could we just make sure I go and slightly visit a little bit of heat one?
Let me try calling the together. Okay.
Yeah, we should work going.
Oh yeah, I mean, before I got there, the people did pick up litter. I intercepted before it gets to the big concrete wall that it has. But it used to blow over that wall. I brushed off that way back to 40 acres, and you can find the styrofoam and everything to that property. So, okay, thank you much. Thanks for doing that.
I brought my own.
So, I just want to make sure that the public is aware that the FOIA file includes Mike's cell phone, which is publicly paid for. And he brought it up at the Supervisors and Agers meeting and looked down at the FOIA request by his comment. And I just wanted to bring it up publicly that it's his cell phone. Thank you.
I do have a question regarding the FOIA request that the work that is going to need to be done that will cost the town money between Mr. Campbell and our IT and ourselves, or where do we stand with that?
Yeah, I said that I would pay them.
So I had some correspondence with Mr. Doe to clarify some things based on some emails back and forth. And the first FOIA request covered an expansive period of time and an expansive number of records, which is what raised some of the concern about the cost.
Yeah, and I have limited it back now.
So today he sent an email saying he was going to be limited to the calendar year of 2025, so from the first week of date, which is going to significantly reduce the value of things that need to be looked at and provided. So we're in the process right now of accumulating that information to provide that. But yeah, I mean, there's
going to be a cost to us, and if we're going down from 4 years to 1 year, $3,000, $4,000,
I would think it would be that. Okay. At least as it relates to the things that I have to
Well, I'm confused. But you sent me my name is Ron, by the way, not John. But you said you were picking up the call, correct?
Yeah, I said that when you guys get done telling me how much it is, that I will take care of the cost.
So why did it cost the town?
Well, the obligation is on the town to comply with freedom of information requests. The law, the statute that governs FOIA has fairly limited provisions for charging someone who makes a request. If they're going to be paper documents that are submitted, if you want paper copies, you're allowed to charge $0.25 a piece. For certain kinds of very voluminous, large, time-consuming things, you can pick a reasonable amount of time and then charge at the lowest hourly rate for someone who works with the town at the town hall to compile those records. So what we can charge Mr. Brown or anyone who is for a request appropriate under the laws is very limited. So he's indicated he understands and he's accepting responsibility, but know that if he's gracious enough to do that, that's great, but it is a responsibility of the town in order to honor the idea of transparency and openness and availability of records to the community. So, I think we're in a much better position to keep those costs down a lot now that Mr. Dolan has helped us out by really good stuff.
The split on that, I mean, the burden, the biggest burden will rest on the town because under state law to supply this information.
Yes.
You guys are gonna have to pay for it. I will make sure that the town gets whole. It will be a donation if need be. I will make sure the town gets whole for my inquiry.
Anyone else? Okay, going back to the open public hearing. So we have an open public hearing on budgets. Is there anyone that has not had a chance to comment? Is there any member of the board that would like to comment?
So I guess the one main concern at hand, obviously we have, is the ambulance. And is there any consideration then to put, I know it was looked into it, Ron said, we can't just simply put a line item in there at this time, correct?
No, we can't, because the ambulance is not a town district, we can't put a line on the tax bill for its own charges. We can put notes on the tax bill referencing that, for example, a portion of the allocation of fire funds collected might go to sport units, something like that. But it cannot have its own tax line unless you're paying it.
So Jim, the rate per thousand for the fire department went from 50 cents to 75 cents, 25 cents, then we deferred to the ambulance.
You could.
It could. But remember, the fire district is responsible for its own budget. So all they do, all you do is accept their budget and then attach it to yours and then collect the tax. But their fire district is only on ambulance as a tax in the quarter. So
right, but we don't actually have that. All we have is an invoice for the
correct.
Who owns the fire department and owns the ambulance.
So we just do that.
Yeah, so we're contracted with the village. We still have the agreements in force for 2026. Right now, the contract amount for ambulance services, which is what our contract rate is a little over $20,000. And we've been paying that right now. What the village chooses to do with it before it gets to the ambulance, that's up to them.
So can we do anything at this time to increase that from 20 to 40, 45?
So without breaking the contract, my recommendation to the board would be to keep the budget sitting as it is without the changes and wait for the village to offer us the plan to put money in place.
Which John has promised us he's going to do it.
I know the mayor has been meeting with some kind of a business planning person to go through and make a budget plan or whatever it is for the ambulance. So when they deliver the plan, we'll have to go in and then figure out authorize or not. We don't have anything authorized.
Well, how will it work if
we okay the budget, and then the plan comes about managing it.
Is there anywhere to move money around that, I guess? Is that where we're going with this?
That's what we're gonna have. So for right now, the contracts in force, we would be pushing over the $20,000. It's not what they asked for, but it's close. The village is still considering dumping the code enforcement. And if they do, we're going to have to come up with $30,000 to pay charges. Right, because the town will have to pick up enforcement and fire marshal services and building inspection for both the town and the village.
All right. From the village, do they donate money?
I don't think that's the reason. But that's what they're considering doing. I'm not sure.
The other concern hanging out there is the letter, the DOT letter, and talking to other business people, talking to Sean today, and I almost think that is, I hope, but according to other business people, that is a third-party ghost, if you have it. That you were going to find $10,000 for paperwork not being filled out, correct? Is that kind of where we're standing with that?
So, we can register with DOT. I'm sure at some point they work with DOT under that, but I know some towns do it, but it is not required by municipalities. And like that letter that we got, talking about the $10,000 fine, was a third party.
Nothing to do with New York State DOT.
No.
Probably
find out. And like I talked to Bologna, I talked to other towns and things like that, and like, where you meet, I've never had that.
So hopefully like this, we're not going to have to fight that in the short season.
We just do.
Yeah.
That takes that up. So the budget is kind of sitting where it is. We have until the 20th to approve it. If we do not want to approve it tonight, then we can set another hearing before the 20th to go back over it. If that seems
Would that be with the board, or does that have to be a public hearing again?
no, but this is the public hearing.
Tonight, it is, right now.
So it would just be a special board meeting to look at approving the budget.
You know, one thing I would like to know is, in John's doing this formulation of a business plan, why he isn't looking at the alternative of using Windsor County as a resource. I've had enough conversations to understand that Windsor County would step in and help fill the gaps. If we work with them cooperatively, they'll do that. And that costs us nothing. So why aren't we looking at that now?
Do we know that for sure?
I thought we can do it correctly.
Because I'm just stating this, I had a direct conversation with a Livingston County deputy that's been in Livingston County for years, and he says they are taxed out right now. They can't get any more manpower. Their budget is pretty much in play. I'm just telling you what he told me. And there's nowhere to go with additional services to help take care of violence.
Okay. So I've talked to people too, and what I'm finding out is that the path to doing part-time hires eventually leads to the end of that ambulance corps. Okay? So we're already setting ourselves up on a path to terminate the ambulance corps. Okay? We're not trying something to preserve the fantastic resources that we have. Okay? I want to preserve those volunteers as long as absolutely possible, right? So I don't want to do anything that's going to jeopardize that. I think if we start hiring people, we're going to jeopardize that.
I would suggest that I can contact Dan tomorrow. He wants a reference. Mayback. My mother-in-law has been on Mayback. That's Marathon, down in Marathon, New York, below Portland. And they have had a hybrid model for over 15 years now.
Okay.
And I think maybe it would behoove us or John, to contact managers, what's working for you then? So instead of saying that's never work,
It's an anomaly, it does work, okay, but it's not the majority of the situations, okay? I mean, if you look at Livingston County as a whole, the number of ambulances that have gone under, because some of them have tried that, and it has worked, and they just turned all over the place, okay? I would prefer to try to find a way to preserve poor. That's what I would prefer. And I think trying to start, because I'm very curious, who are they going to pay? Who are they going to pay people? Because they're paying the people who are current volunteers. That's not solving the problem.
That's not what's going to happen. Her plan has been stated publicly. Meg has put out an entire presentation on it.
I know what I said. I know what Megan told me. And I'm not going to impute here. But I know what Megan told me. And I'm just saying that if we're going to pay volunteers, it doesn't solve the problem. Okay? It doesn't solve our staffing problem. It's just, what does it do? Okay, we have a staffing problem. And if all you're going to do is pay the volunteers, how does that solve a staffing problem? Okay. And the biggest thought in the back of my mind is, if the voting ambulance is a priority in this community, which it sounds like it is, right? What are we willing to give up? Are we willing to give up the 4th of July fireworks? That costs us $12,000. Right?
To save lives?
What are we willing to give up? Okay? Are we willing to give up paying $3,000 to the Golden Agers? Are we willing to give up paying $2,500 to the veterans? Are we willing to give up paying $500 to be well? What are we willing to give up? If the voting ambulance is the highest priority, then we should fund it. Right? Line, sorry. I keep doing it.
I think the problem we're going to have is that eventually we're going to have to hire full-time people, full-time ambulance. This is an area that a lot of people can't volunteer. Most people are working nights and days. They just don't have the time to do it. And to be a fire on the fire department, you have to go to school for 2-3 months. A lot of people can't do that. And they don't have the time. So I think eventually Lima's going to have to look into the proposition of hiring full-time people. If the taxes have to go for that, I'm going to pay that. To have that coverage.
Like I said, we spent $12,000 on fireworks. They're pretty. But you know what? If we want to go for 9 ambulances, if that's our highest priority, then we should start setting our priorities.
Well, the fireworks draw about 34,000 people.
But do all of them need ambulance service?
Pardon?
Do they all need ambulance service?
I don't know, but I can expect at the time I enjoy fireworks.
Okay, then fireworks are more important than the ambulance. That's all you're saying.
I'm saying the ambulance is important too, but we should have all 3 of them. So the taxes, that's the way it goes.
So, this time I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Try to make some sense of which way we want to go. That we can approve the budget, we can set another meeting. But again, we've got the 20th of this month, so we've got 18 days.
I'd like to see one more meeting.
Yeah, it's mostly John, Petition, get some kind of plan, we can figure out what we will get, we can get.
You know, like, is he going to have any kind of presentation at their meeting next week?
Possibly. He's asking for a meeting, and I've yet to set it. We'll get through this.
Then I would definitely say, hold off for doing it tonight. It's not in December.
Yeah, it's December.
You went through a couple of scenarios where you can't put the money in the budget. I wonder if you can go through what entailed actions would be. Does that make sense?
So right now, the village is going to have to present us with an invoice and a plan. And then we'll have to discuss payment.
Okay, it wouldn't be budgeted for.
We don't have a place to put it. Again, we have
Our budget, if you look at it, has a line for fire, for the 3 fire districts that are outside of the village. The ambulance money is buried inside. And so we have 2 contracts, one for fire, one for ambulance services. They get mashed together and put into that fire money.
Because the fire department is a district.
It's not, I have fire districts that have been formed outside, just like the village is a fire district. There's also 3 other fire districts that were formed outside the village. One was previously serviced by Audited. One was previously serviced by Falk. And then the other one was the Lima Fire Department. And over time, the Lima Fire Department did the other 2 for them in. So now we're paying for fire service for all 3 of them. The ambulance corps has a certificate of need that covers the entire town, including the village. But it doesn't have a specific district piece. And because the ambulance used to be part of the fire department and then left so that you could collect money for bringing people to the hospital, separate entity, but it's all kind of very mashed together. So your question is, do we have a place to put something that's sequestered for the ambulance in the budget? The answer is really no.
I don't understand that. A budget doesn't mean you have to spend the money, it means you've allocated that money. And if you don't spend it, it goes into your fund balance at the end of the year, am I correct?
That is correct.
So even if you don't have a contract, you could plan for it as a contingency. And if you don't feel like you want to put it in the fire, do you not have a contingency line in your budget?
And so that may end up where money is put. We have contingency lines in several places in the budget. We would have to look into the fund and bump the contingency up based on some of the other things that are happening right now, like the contract for the audit.
But I just make one last point, and that is, I don't think there's any technical reason why you couldn't put this money in. So I don't think you should hide behind that as a reason. If you just don't want to put it in, because you don't feel like the future is line ambulance, just be honest with us and say, no, we're not going to put it in because we really want to go to Livingston County anymore.
I don't think that the board has really scratched that out. What I would recommend that we do is make sure that there's enough money to entertain the possibility once the plan is done. That's good stewardship of everybody's funds.
I would hope that the village would come to the next meeting to be here and make the necessary information. And at their last meeting, I had asked the board, I said that you were going to have your budget meeting and ambulance was going to be an important thing, and I asked them to please come because this is an important issue. And I think Erica Reinhardt was here for a little while, but I guess I'm disappointed with my village board to not come in and I've asked them on this very important issue because you need this information. And that's the problem with joint things is when one half of the board is here, one board is here, and one board isn't here, it doesn't work.
You know, John, one thing that bothers me in this whole process is that if we were to go ahead and free up money for the village by taking over code enforcement, okay, all it does is all it does is allows the village to have more money that they don't have to give us because they pay half for the code enforcement. So they get to keep that, right? And then I'm told by the trustees that they can do whatever they want with that money. They don't have to use it for the ambulance, they can use it for whatever they want to use it for. I mean, that doesn't give me a lot of comfort that if we take the effort to make the money available, that they're going to do it for that purpose. You know, if they made an absolute statement to me that said, yes, we are going to use it for the ambulance, I feel a lot more comfortable.
Who told you that they weren't going to bind it to the ambulance?
They said that they don't have to.
Okay. Yeah, there's no commitment to law.
Why did they say that?
I don't know.
that's where they gotta pay their hands and code enforcement officer. Everything's gotta, I think it's, yeah, it's like amount of money to whatever it is, but it has to be transparent so that everybody knows the money coming out of the town to go to the village is either going for the ambulance or it's gotta be earmarked for that. And then when the village money comes back, like for the code enforcement officer, it's gotta be earmarked. So everybody knows where money's going.
But right now, we have a contract. We have a 3-year contract. 2026 is the last year of the 3-year contract. If they want to renegotiate the contract for 2027, we can do that.
Well, you could
Everybody's
renegotiate.
forcing our hand to try to do something for 2026.
Mark, couldn't you renegotiate a contract anytime when the two parties agree?
So we could. So when we renegotiated last time, we were asked for a large increase, 7-8% increase rather than what was going on before. And so what I asked the village for was, okay, we'll meet that, but we want 2 more years at 1%, which they agreed to. So we were all happy enough to sign it. But if we go ahead and renegotiate, then the town outside the village loses the savings of having a large investment in 2 small years.
Okay, I agree. So if you've allotted this 20,000 to the village for the ambulance, you rightfully should know where that went.
Right, should go.
Now, I was under the understanding when I was on the board that was helping to pay the cost of the debt service on the building, which is somewhere like $45,000 a year.
That may be what they're using it for,
Yeah.
but we don't know that. Our contract is annual services. Here it is. It's the village's board's decision on where to spend.
And unfortunately, you mentioned come to the next meeting, so time out gone. By state controller law, right, and New York state law, we have to pass this budget by the 20th.
Correct.
So if anything is going to happen, there's better be a damn informative meeting next Tuesday by the village. And then we have to the 20th to maybe come up with some kind of plan. We have 8-9 days that we have after next Tuesday to see if there is any way to put this together. So I guess
could one or more of you come to the village board meeting next week?
I plan on being there. I usually am.
Okay. I mean, I think you should. I would recommend that you ask them ahead of time so they can be prepared. Where is the 20,000 going?
We can go down, I understand. We can't make a decision.
Oh, I know, but communication will help a lot because you have a lot of questions, Mark. Like, are they actually committed to use it as an anger, or are they going to use their discretion to use it for anything they want? I mean, I don't know where Carey is sitting at, but there's a lot of moving parts here, and I think that the two boards need to get together. Get the information. I'm not saying there might be a decision one way or the other, but just so that the decision can be made with the greatest amount of understanding between the two parties. Okay?
Well, I'm going to ask a question. The village is going to give us money they want us to code enforcement. Right? So the village has to pay for that.
They're in the middle of trying to
So
decide.
whether the village or us, you'll take the code enforcement away from us. So are we liable because the village is in the town to do it? And the village is liable because they're in the town too? They're not liable? That doesn't make any sense.
We don't have village justices anymore. We don't have village assessment. Over time, anything that gets abandoned in New York State either belongs to a city or a town. Cemeteries, the library, etc. They used to be the Lima Free Library. It went under the town authority. That's one of the functions of town government. So if the village decides that they do not wish to perform code enforcement, building inspection, and fire marshal services, then that's their decision. the town is bound to take it over because we still have to have the services in the village.
I mean, I was at the last village board, when did this come up that they weren't going to do the CEO? Because we always, it was your employee and we, the village, paid 50% of his wages.
Right.
Office supplies.
Just passed off a few weeks ago.
Oh, it just came up now?
Yeah, they discussed it in some fashion at their last meeting.
Did they get a rationale? How did they just want to get this crossed off their books and look back? But you would just transfer that to Part A budget, and the village residents are still going to pay the same amount.
Correct. And there's no cost difference to the taxpayers. But I have to alter our budget significantly to do it. And we're running out of runway to get that done. If the decision is made and I get the letter after the 20th of November, we will have to figure it out. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm hedging on any, okay, we're going to earmark this for the ambulance or earmark this for whatever. If we get into that code enforcement thing, the village then has plenty of money to run the experiment on their own, plus the town is going to have to step around and figure out where to shape money on the budget to be able to continue code enforcement. And I have to go to the Department of State, tell them that now we've changed the whole thing, get an assistance visit so they can come down and help reorganize the whole code enforcement process. It'll take us a couple of months to get everything organized.
Doesn't seem like the village should be able to do this quickly. Like we should have to go into the next fiscal year before they try to do that. But I'm not on the village board anymore.
I thought we were going to have a joint meeting with the village.
That canceled?
Yeah, the joint meeting is going to be in December.
Is there any way that could move it up because you have a budget crossing issue here? Two issues, the CEO and the other plan. Did that go next Tuesday, or is it, did it get, I don't know, did it get advertised?
I thought it was on Veterans Day, and Mike can't make it on Veterans Day.
It's Veterans Day next Tuesday. All of the employees, including the clerks, are off.
Why did they, once again, why schedule national holiday, a meeting?
Right.
Okay, sorry, it's not, nothing, it's just frustrated my brain.
So that's where we are. We're going to talk to Mayor. Do we want to set the budget meeting for the 18th, which is the Tuesday? Tuesday the 18th. Is that good, right?
You will. Yeah.
6:30. So I just need a motion to go ahead and set that meeting.
Make a motion to go ahead and have the final budget look over on November 18th at 6:30 p.m.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Carried. All right, back to the vouchers. Are you set?
Yeah. Motion to approve vouchers.
I did have one question.
Is there a second? Motion to approve. Is there a second? No. Any discussion? No.
Had something to do, the tire, that was for the Kubota tractor, the 8430? Yeah. Okay. That's 1,500. Okay, my only question with that, did you look at other options? Price from sedan or perimeter?
I did not. I know Briggs, when I talked to the guys over at Briggs, and they could have it done. I actually went to pick the tire up on Friday. We dropped it off on Thursday. community that want that to put up no fence.
These other places are very good though, and I would just suggest in the future, try to utilize, and you could save $150, $200 on tire, getting the tire for the tractor. Those would be, so it would be permanent tire and sit-in tire out of Carey. And there's no still done the central ball track. They used to come out through here.
Yeah, I used them all.
They were good, doing no tire on 96 and central balls. No LT, no tire. No armor and sedan.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Carried. All right, gold majors. The turkey dinner is Saturday. At the Crossroads Church Gymnasium, Fort Sims. It is put on by the village. We crash through. The VFW would remind everybody that the Marine Corps birthday is being hosted at Normal Barbecue on Monday, which is the 250th birthday of the Marine Corps, from 4 to 6. The following day is Veterans Day. There will be the ceremony at the Four Corners at 11 o'clock. The VFW has purchased a new flag for the Werner Fire Department to use as the display. The American Legion will be hosting a luncheon for veterans at 12:30 on Veterans Day. I'll let Mark talk about Crossroads. We had last night, starting to get back into the swing for next year, and we're doing our festival play. Right?
Yeah, so the highway department has been kind of library board meets tomorrow night. Well, we go into that. As far as the parks, I guess there's going to be with the town and village joint meeting, going to be presenting a master plan for the park. We're going to talk about the memorial trail class, history of the park. The board is going to be chipping in $500. We've talked about pursuing a emergency disaster plan for the park. And there's big events like the Pumpkin Festival and the fireworks. And people probably
the headquarters will be in Cemeteries. Not coming back to the already come.
I have a question, and what are we doing with all the leaves and all the dead limbs and the vines and the fencing? Is there anything that we done with that? Which one are you talking about? For sure, the one right here behind Quickville.
We have to take care of that. That's the current church doesn't do anything with it. It's not our property.
So, just give that to you for your reference. That gentleman had a conversation with the Boy Scouts that are dying to do community projects. And be good to get with their leadership and see what they can do for us. And then, did you ever get with Ferraro on the dirt? Are we going to do anything with the dirt? Or what are we doing?
What dirt is talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
We talked about it at the August meeting, and I brought it up, and the scouting in the areas he left, and he agreed with us. He left, and he agreed to go in, and I brought it up at the August meeting, and asked to see if there was going to be anything done with it.
That's the college cemetery.
college for, I went by it tonight again, yeah, there's been nothing down there, and there was some truck marks up on Harrison too, in that one. So, we probably ought to look at that.
Okay. I will appreciate the very call.
Okay.
Bill, courts.
Nothing more than Dr. Carroll, and busy as ever, that's it. Still getting a lot of going on and a lot of,
planning board did not meet, summer liaison we talked about. The well in Lima, I guess the only things I have to say are, we're still promoting the Veterans 250, which is the 250 laps at the Crossroads Park. There's a GVHP.org website that you can go to and sign up. We have a bunch of people already participating, and somebody's already putting in quite a few laps, so it's great to see.
Judy completed it.
Sorry, what?
Judy completed it. She's the first one to complete it.
Awesome.
Yeah. She's across the street from me.
Cool. We've been trying to make ourselves more visible. You know, we have a booth at the Pumpkin Festival, we've got a booth at the Farmers Market, we're passing out literature on healthy eating, healthy living. So obviously, if you see us at the different festivals, please stop by and get some of the literature. I think that's we do well. And as far as the court, we've submitted an application to the New York State courts to do some security upgrades around the clerk's office and in the building. We're looking to put in what do you call this, magnetometer, metal detector at the court entrance. We're looking to put in some security glass and security doors and beefing up the windows around the court clerk. We're looking to put a new camera in at the front entrance. So some things to try to make the place a little bit safer for somebody who lives by themselves. I don't know when the announcements are for that grant are, but so I got Steve.
So, on the rest of the story, on the park commission, we were supposed to have a Boy Scout here tonight to get the logistics to run everything. The village and the park commission located a new fishing dock down at it would be the southeastern corner of the pond, and it's going to be an 8 by 10 dock put in down there. It's all been laid out. And as far as the project, it's going to be the Eagle Scout project, and it's going to be about $1,000, give or take, and that will be covered by this year's festival. Along with yesterday, I brought a contractor down last night to look at both gazebos, Mike, and he's going to separate it, and we have both types. We can go cedar shake again, or we can go architectural type metal, cork with texture. That's what I want. Texture.
Stone cold steel.
Stone cold steel. Yes. Yeah, I didn't show it to you, Ron. I didn't have my book. So that's that. Nothing that I've done right now with the ZBA Pumpkin Festival. We had a great day, of course. Right now, we're waiting for the feedback from Blodgett and Livingston County Litco. We're anticipating, from what we've kind of heard, 4,200 to 4,300 people, which would be 200 more than last year. We are we had our wrap-up meeting, and right now we are discussing if we are going to continue with the festival at the park or move to another site. We have been wrongly accused, I will put it mildly, of leaving that place a mess. Nancy Sherlock and my wife both absolutely cleaned that place to the nines. Cleaner than it was when we found it. Tables put back in place, And, I don't know who started this, the only thing that was left after we were all done cleaning was equipment owned by the rotary. And, what's that? No, that was through the village. We were told by the village we left it a mess. So we are right now in negotiation with 2 other sites that would love to have us, and we'll see if it changes. It'll be too bad if it does.
Yeah, I would think that would be really unfortunate. I mean, it's...
Well, I'm telling you, Mark, I'm a person, when I put my heart and soul into something, and somebody tells me, and tells the people that have helped, and all these volunteers who come to make that thing happen, that you left that mess. Right? That is absolutely untrue. Absolutely.
Well, if nothing else, you yourself have done an awful lot with flower beds and cleaning up and trimming.
Oh, they're all cleaned up right now. Most of the flowers are all whole. I spaded out 3 of the beds, turned them over so they crack out for the winter. And it's unbelievable after having that calendar back this spring and now, shoveling and spading all the last couple of days down there. This stuff's going to be hell as hell next year. It's going to be beautiful.
But so, how do we get in touch with the person that's causing this disruption?
I have no idea. This was presented to me by the vice mayor. I don't know who approached him. Yes. And we have told him twice now, absolutely not, that was left in a disarray. We had no idea who was blaming us for stuff down there when it was the only equipment left was rotary equipment in the building. So, fire department, everything's in great shape. We had a couple of trucks that just got fixed with pumps, with a water leak and a hydraulic leak, 1 pumper and a rescue truck. But everything was in great, the ladder truck. The fire department has bought a pumper. We finally negotiated a deal with Churchville Fire. We own a pumper that is the same age as our newest pumper. Our old one will be going up for sale. I believe we ended up negotiating at $375. A new pumper for you that have not been here, a brand new pumper today, and it would be a year and a half to get it. It would be $1.2, $1.3 million. So we did what we had to do to try to upgrade it. It's like we're all trying to put budgets together and keep everything from going up all the time. That was our fix. Now we're going after and look at our airpack situation, which is about $12,000 in airpack, and we need at least 7 or 8.
What do you see? The old bumper, how much do you figure that's worth?
25, 30 projects. It's a standard shift international, which I love, but, well, I will tell you, the last pumper that I ran for 20-some years, 0237, when Bruce Pease, when he went to Florida, Bruce got his fire department to come up and look at that pumper that had an FMC front pump on it, and we sold that to them for about 12. Back in the day, we had that 20-some years. So,
is there any thought about reaching out to Springwater? The Springwater Fire Department's going out of business at the end of the year.
I had heard they are definitely.
Yeah, they're transferring it to the fire companies around.
I will tell Nikki Gary that and see where they are. And the biggest thing is how updated are their airbags or anything we could use. So I'll tell them and we'll look at it. And how much? Yeah, so this could be just the Livonia Fire District, right?
And you can originally pick up.
So the other side. So, the only other thing, we're down to about 300 tickets. If anybody would like to try to take $14,000 home in December in 5 weeks, are we down less than that? Yeah. They're giving away the night of the HFL Christmas Parade, December 13th. I still have tickets, we have about, out of the 1,500, we're down to about 300 tickets, so we're in pretty good shape, but we've got 4 weeks, a little over 4 weeks to do it, so I have some here tonight if you'd like. Thank you.
There was no traffic safety board meeting last month. Tomorrow, we'll be discussing trying to lower the speed limit coming into the village from the left side, kind of like how it is on the north end here. So it's kind of like 45 that, maybe just before the ambulance, and then 30 and we're, let's see, we'll go about 45, coming back down that hill.
Sean, it looks like the 10-20 limit has been posted on Dalton Road now.
Yeah, that got passed in 3 board meetings, correct?
So everything's posted now, and you sign came down there?
Yep.
I saw it.
That's on the management side.
Well, that's not ours.
No, it goes from 8 to 10 across, but, yeah.
Okay. I assume then the last thing is, I need a motion to go to executive session to discuss the personnel history of a particular individual and the board, the attorney, and the highway supervisor.
I make that motion. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Thank you, everybody. Take care.